Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, after that short break. And now we're going to be throwing some great light on the topic. How realistic is it to say that Sensex can be 2 lakhs in 10 years? We have with us our very eminent speaker, Mr. Ramdeo Agrawal, an awardee of Rashtriya Samman Patra by the Central Board of Direct Taxes. Mr. Ramdeo Agrawal is the chairman of Motilal Oswal Financial Services Limited and the driving force behind the company's approach to investing. Mr. Agrawal has created the QGLP, that is Quality, Growth, Longevity, and Favorable Price Investment Process, and its buy right, sit tight investing philosophy. He has been authoring the annual Motilal Oswal Wealth Creation Study since its inception in 1996, an associate of Institute of Chartered Accountant of India, and a member of the National Committee on Capital Markets of the Confederation of Indian Industry. He has also been featured on Wizards of Dalal Street on CNBC TV 18. Mr. Ramdeo, very warm welcome to you. Now, this session is going to be moderated by Mr. Kamal Manocha. He's the man behind the scene, ladies and gentlemen, the founder and CEO of PMS AIF World. He kick-started this confluence with the welcome address early on. I have to say he's an enthusiastic person with the purpose of serving clients with the most knowledgeable approach to investing. He's an honors in economics and holds an MBA in finance, and he carries many investment certifications and holds vast experience of more than 16 years in the field of investments and advisory. I'm going to take the privilege of requesting Mr. Kamal Manocha to kindly take over this very prestigious session. Sir, take it away.
Thank you, Aishwarya, for such a wonderful beginning, and welcome Ramdevji to our discussion. I'll give you a quick context of this event. The name of this event is COVID-19 to Investments 21. We have seen, over last 1 year, a lot has happened which nobody, could have ever thought. And maybe, next 10 years, a lot will happen which nobody has ever imagined. And we are actually, believers of the target that you have set for Sensex. And I believe and I agree that yes, it is not right to predict levels, but it is important to definitely keep focus on returns. Because what happens, when we do conversations with our clients, and this is exactly what I covered in my opening speech as well, investors have been focusing too much on risk. Whenever it comes to thinking of equity as an asset class in their minds, the first thought that comes to their mind is risk. Ideally, obviously, a risk is important, but the first thought should not be risk. First thought should be returns. If first thought, for example, had been returns, then people would have invested in March, April, May, June last year. But investors, at that point of time, we had done a poll. I'll tell you the interesting outcome of that poll. 97% people in March, April, May last year were saying that first thought that comes to their mind is risk, not the returns. And even today, if we run that poll, 50% people still say that risk is the first thought that comes to their mind and not returns. But yes, there are 50% people who today feel that returns is what comes to their mind, which was only 3% as a number in the month of March. So this is how investors think. And when now markets have actually reached to all-time highs, there is a statement that comes from a guru like you, a master like you, that Sensex can be 2 lakh in next 10 years. That is where investors say that how realistic is this number. And when we deep dive and understand the mathematics over last 15 years, which is my career, if we have seen Sensex going from 5,000 to 50,000, which is a 10 times movement in last 15 years, it is definitely possible that we can see a 4 times movement from current levels over next 10 years. But yes, there are various questions, there are various apprehensions, and that is why we have kept this session. To our audience, I will just take last 30 seconds to convey the expectations. We will run a presentation for first half of this session, where Ramdevji will be presenting his thoughts regarding this entire perspective, and then after that we'll do one-on-one discussion. Over to you, Ramdevji.
Thank you. And it's a pleasure to speak to all of you, all the PMS World attendees. And Mr. Muraka really kicked off very well when he talked about the risk. Nobody remembers risk. In fact, I've forgotten what is the risk in the stock market. I mean, my 40 years. Actually, I mean, what he's saying is right. It really resonates. I mean, probably I'll never forget what you said just now. That when it comes to equities, people think about risk and not the reward. And my sense is that risk reward is very balanced. It's a very equal world, and risk free is that 10-year paper, Government of India 10-year paper that gives you 6%, and the risk free is at 6%, and equities at a index level is considered as risky asset. I mean, of course, it fluctuates. There is no guarantee that you'll get 12% or 15% or 6% or minus 6%. There is no guarantee. And the moment guarantee is not there, risk starts. Whether the return will, the risk of getting the return itself starts. And that's why a lot of people, they are not willing to take the risk in terms of the risk of not getting the return. I mean, but then they don't look back what exactly has happened. So I think this presentation is exactly in that backdrop. You really reminded the right thing, that what exactly, how to think about next 10 years. Because I'm talking about the investing. I've been investing in stock market for 40 years. And you have to keep in mind that next 5, 10, 15 years, in fact, longer. I mean, you must buy stocks for forever, kind of. Maybe you can sell your diamonds, but not the stocks. So, I mean, I'm not talking about the stock per se, but the allocation in the stock. I mean, your portfolio must be live and continuous, because the power of compounding, one thing people don't understand is the power of compounding. Now, power of compounding works brilliantly on a longer the period, better it is. So if it is 10 years, what happens is at the rate of 25%, you go 10x. But so that is a 10 time. In 20 years, it is 100x. So between 11 and 20, you make 90x of your purchase price. But 1 to 10, you make only 9 times. And 11 to 90, you make 90 times. And between 21 and 30, you make 900 times. So that exponential return on successful current purchase, see, it doesn't happen all over. But 1 or 2 successful seeds, they give you exponential return. And that is an asymmetric equation for investing in equities. I mean, downside is 1x, upside can be whatever, 5, 10, 15, 20. And that also depends on how long you stay. So that's the excitement of equities. But let's get into the presentation and see what exactly, the way I think, what will happen, only time will tell. But this is how I think. Prediction is dangerous, especially of the future. Next. And there is no other way to see the future except for the past experiences. Next. So next. Yeah. So this is how last 10 years have gone. And from 20,000, it has gone to 50,000. So about 2.5 times, 10% compounded. That's simple. X dividend. If you put dividend of 1.5%, it'll be a little better. But basically 2.5 times in 10 years. And this is the worst decade of the 4 decades in terms of performance. Next. Okay. Now look at the world. How prosperous the world has become. World is prospering. See, you must try to understand where the world is headed, because we are all part of the world, and we are very integral part of the world, and we are significant. I mean, it is predicted by 2050, the top 3 sides of the economy will be China, India, and America. That's what Goldman Sachs says. So, and 2050 is not very far off, in the sense that we're talking about next 25, 30 years. So your next 10 years, part of that next 30 years journey. So a lot is going to happen. We are in a very interesting place. And see what has happened to China. China and India, look at it. I mean, India has gone from, say, about $500 billion to 3 trillion now. But China has gone from just about $1 trillion to 14 trillion. So always there is an inflection point. Now, whether that inflection happens for India, we don't know. From $2,000, suddenly the economy starts taking off on its own momentum. So that is what is expected of India. Whether it happens or not, only time will tell. But we are not talking, in our assumption, we are not talking about that 12% and 10% growth of China. We are talking about 7-8% growth. Next. Yeah. So this is how India has shaped up. In last 60 years, it took India $1 trillion economy to become. It took 60 years. The next trillion came in 7 years. Just look at it. from 2007 to 2014, 15. Third trillion should have happened last year itself, 2020. But because of COVID, we actually had negative, and that's why we are stuck. Current year will be the third trillion. Fourth will definitely happen in much shorter period. Fourth will happen in maybe 4 years. Fifth will happen. So fifth trillion would happen now by 2029. 2 years are gone because of COVID, but it should happen in 28, 29 for sure. So this is how, but what is the significance of this? Next. The significance is this. You know, when you are at $1,000 per capita in 2008, your 600 is basic, your discretionary spend is 100, and your savings are 300. That's how the economy was, 30% savings. When you go from 1,000 to 2,000 or 3,000, what happens? Your basics remain still at 600, 700. Your discretionaries go from 100 to 1,000. And savings go from, say, 300 to 1,200. So there are two exponential events. One, your discretionary spend is building up. From a motorcycle economy, you are going to go to the car economy, and within car also luxury car economy. So that discretionary spend you can see around in last 10, 15 years how it has built. Everybody can see. I mean, I remember in 2003-4, there was not a crane in Mumbai. There was no crane in South Bombay. Today, the whole, if you go and see, entire South Bombay is under construction. So, and they are all expensive, 30, 40, 50,000 rupees per square foot. So this is the discretionary spend which is building up now. Exponentially it will build. So next. Yeah, just come back to earlier one. One before. Yeah, I think for us, really, tripling of per capita GDP implies 10x opportunity discretionary and 4x opportunity in savings and services, savings and investments. What happens is that savings are cumulative. In last 10 years, we have saved about $6 to $7 trillion. In next 10 years, for sure, we'll save about $14 trillion. You imagine the guys who are managing money, the guys who are doing banking, the guys who are doing payments, the guys, all the savings related insurance, they will just go to the roof because the size of the opportunity is very large, very, very, very large. And that will lead to investment services, savings and investment services, and also the capital spend. So L&Ts of the world, the project sizes will change. So all the savings will be invested in your infrastructure, wherever it will be invested in houses or whatever. So this is going to be a very interesting period in next 10 years. Next. Next. Yeah. So what are the indices? What are the things which gives us confidence that India will emerge the way we think? One is democracy. I mean, you know about it. It's clearly one market and one government at center, and then you have the federal structure, one unified market, one income tax, one GST, one Aadhaar card, one ration card, one bank account, one mobile number. I don't know what all one they are doing, but it's a clearly one unified market of 1.4 billion people. It's a unique thing. Next. Demography. It is the youngest country in the world. Next. Then how the demography is going to move because of discretionary spend build up. Today, 1 out of 4 households are consuming. In 10 years time, it will be 1 out of 2. Means literally the consuming population will double. So doubling of the per capita consumption will go up, and number of consumers joining the consumption basket will also double. So it's a only thing is that your 7-8% GDP growth rate must happen. Next. Digitization. I think on top of the one world, one India, one democratic India, digital force of the India is one of the most unique things in the world. Typically, digital capability is found among the rich countries, not in the poor countries. But India is very unique. Our reputation for software build-up and our digitization of internal processes. You look at Aadhaar card; it's a completely digital. And how much time it took to roll it out? Today, the entire India is living off Aadhaar card, but it just takes 2-3 years to roll it out. And because thanks to Y2K and the software export prowess of India, today in the last year we have exported $150 billion of software. In the current year, it is likely to be 165. Maybe it will be more like 175 if you go by TCS result of 12-13% growth. You're talking about almost like a 170-175 billion dollars of exports. This is significantly bigger than Saudi Arabia's oil export. Saudi Arabia's all export is just about 125, 130 billion dollars. So, and it is growing. I mean, in next 3-4 years, 5 years, it is likely to be 300 to 350 billion dollars per year. So this is the prowess. This digital capability is what is going to. I mean, you see this Zomato and all these things coming up. They're all possible in this economy only. All the startup world. So digitization is one very significant force. Next. Then the forex reserve, which is building up 600 plus reserve. I mean, the whole story started in 92 with 3 to 4 billion dollars of reserve, 8 days import cover. Today we have 18 months of import cover and still counting. So this is what has changed the India in the global marketplace. Next. And you know, the inflationary pressure has come down and your GSEC is about 6%. Next. Next. Yeah, and the biggest advantage is that you have very stable government. After 30 years, you have got a stable government in Delhi. You may be happy, unhappy with your personal thoughts, but having a stable democratic government, predictable government in Delhi is a huge plus. And their agenda is clearly growth. And our expectation of the government is no business to be in business, minimum government, maximum governance, and kickstart growth. And that's what I'm getting from them. Whosoever is coming from Delhi, they're just talking about growth. Next. So COVID is a temporary blip in my mind, and but COVID has done. COVID in second round is a known based. Earlier it was unknown. Last year there was a complete panic because nobody knew what to give, how to treat, and what will be the impact on the businesses. But there was a complete chaos. And as the governments they got the situation under control, they opened up the fiscal and monetary gates. Today it is the loosest possible fiscal situation all over the world, not only India, and monetary response has been absolutely tepid. They have opened the floodgates of printing money, and it is still on despite negative interest rates, and literally they are printing money left, right, and center. So this particular fiscal and monetary response is the responsible for what we are seeing in the market. The markets are at current level. All the markets, equity markets are, when liquidity is chasing the assets, and now it is spreading over to the commodities and real estate. Clearly worldwide, I believe Dubai, US, all over the real estates are flying. So it's a matter of time. We are going to see in India also, but this loose monetary policy fiscal has been a huge impact of the COVID on a positive side for the markets. So, so how can, I mean, this 2 lakh calculation is very simple. Next slide. We are talking about 15% CAGR, and next. So 15% CAGR is about 12-13% nominal GDP growth rate. Corporate profit growth will be little higher by to 14-15%, and so at 15% you double in 5 years, and in 10 years you'll go 4x. So it's just expectation of 15% compounded on 10-year basis, but that doesn't mean that it will go in a straight line. There will be corrections, there will be collapses, but end to end, when you see, like in last 10 years, from 20,000 it has gone to 50,000. But we had all the drama of last 10 years, in the sense that we had corrections, we had the collapse of last year, and yet, and that number is somewhat misleading, because we are looking at the collapse-based kind of Sensex. So what I'm saying is the market will have its usual corrections and all, but in 10 years time, let me tell you, in the first decade, between 80 to 90, it was 20% compounded. 90 to 2000, again it was 20%. 2000 to 2010 it was 13%, and 2010 to 2020 it is about 10%. So if you take out all 41 years, it is 15.5%. So what we are expecting is, I mean, as an optimist, I'm saying that markets are likely to do what has done in 40 years, they'll do in next 10 years. So I'm not asking for something impossible, and particularly on the back of underperformance at 10%, I think we have a good chance to make it about 15%. So if you make 20% by chance of the first 2 decades, you know, lose monetary policy and things like that, then you're talking about 3 lakhs. But if you don't do, if you get 10%, then it is going to be 130. But I think the more reasonable one is 2 lakhs. So we think there is a good chance we might see 2 lakhs index in Sensex in next 10 years. Next. So these are the, I mean, now then you go about finding, I mean, one of the most powerful thought processes about value migration. And, what happens is that the businesses don't stay the way it is, from a full price broking. Now you are seeing one of the biggest migration is the discount broking. So we had 500, 700 brokers. Now you need only 10 brokers to execute 1,000 times more business. And that's the kind of power you're talking about with the digital world. So telecom from wire to wireless, IT from Boston to Bangalore, banks from public sector to private sector. So there are many businesses from unorganized to organized. So there's a lot of consolidation is happening, and value is migrating from old businesses to the new companies. And that's where you make much bigger money than the normal money. Next. This is we discussed the IT. Next. Private banking, we just talked about it. Next. Life insurance, that's another. Life in general, both public sector is giving way to the private sector, 4-5 of them, and all of them are listed incidentally. So I think their growth rates will be better, their profits will be better, and it is going to be a very large sector as we go forward. Next. Yeah, another thing which has happened is the open up demand, open up trades. When the economy opens up, you have two types of companies, which are, one is the lost demand, which is not going to come back, and second, demand is just deferred, like cars, motorcycles, your durables. They are just deferred. Not a single piece which could have been sold in last 18 months would not sell. They will all come back, and they will come back with a vengeance. So we have, but market has treated them kind of the same. So there is an opportunity to buy into opening up trades. Next. So India is ultimate next trillion dollar opportunity. The world is prospering very rapidly, and India is integral part of it. We have a very, very powerful digital capability apart from which is unique, I would say, in any part of the world. And COVID is a temporary blip. And by very simple 15% compounded, which has been last 40 years, we can. There is good probability, I would say very high probability, 75-80% probability that we'll hit 2 lakhs in the next 10 years. And it's a way of thinking. Don't take it as a dot. I mean, if you achieve 185, 190 or 210, I'm right. That's what I'm saying. It's a way to think. This is how I think. And this is my expectation also from the market. And there are a lot of value migration plays in IT, private banks, in life insurance, auto, consumer durables, paints, and then select companies which anybody fits into their own thinking. And so my sense is, my urges to the investors is, don't bet against India, be optimistic, and what is most important is have patience. And investing in equity market, the most critical thing is not your vision, not your courage, but the patience. You have to bring a lot of patience. And patience is not required when markets are doing well. Patience are required when market is not doing well. How do you behave in bad time? As you said, in last year, March, people were talking about 92% risk. Nobody was talking about reward. We have to only be greedy all the time in the stock market. Thank you very much.
Wonderful, Ramdevji. This has been a very interesting presentation and quite insightful. And the belief that equity markets have a lot to offer in terms of opportunities is all the more firm. And our focus is on returns, and that is why we are doing this session with you, because you are the one who has actually made money. Today, I can theoretically keep talking about the fact that one should focus on returns and not too much waste time thinking of risk. But the fact is, I may have made a couple of crores, but you have made thousands of crores. So a journey of your 40 years over last last 2 decades has definitely given you a lot of learnings. And we want to understand from you, if I today talk to any client and I tell him that one should think long term, one should think for not 5 years, but one should think like Ramdevji would have thought maybe 40 years ago. He would say, investor would say, when Ramdevji started, he invested 1 crore and 1 crore became 30 crore. And then from there onwards, it was easier for him because he made 1 into 30. Because, after you have made 29 crores as a profit, you have a lot of confidence to lose. But how should investor start, when they have to put in their hard-earned money? Today, at this juncture, if I tell an investor that markets are at 16,000 levels. Price to earning is, around 30, 35. We tell you to keep a 10-year horizon, but the foremost question is asset allocation. He's already invested in equity. Equity markets have already rallied. Last 1 year has been high. He wants to make more money. He's generating more liquidity. How should he convince himself to keep adding only to equity and not to look at other asset classes?
या देखिए, क्या टाइमिंग नहीं कर सकते आप. That is one thing. मतलब आपको नहीं मालूम अगले 12 महीने में क्या होने वाला है. I'm telling you this. You have to believe in this. What I'm saying. Well, see, एक तो इतना सारा आपका भी जो ये है, क्या नाम है, इतना Zoom है और conferences है, वो कुछ था नहीं. 1988 में when we started, 87 and all. We were very simple, very young, and we believed in the concept of equity. I being chartered accountant, I understand what exactly equity means for a company, in a company. The only problem in equity, there are two types of equities. Good equities and bad equities. High quality companies and bad kachra, matlab quality and kachra. Never go to kachra. Your money will go in kachra box, I'm telling you. ये चीज जो है ना दिमाग में बैठना चाहिए. वो सब के सब क्या करते हैं, सस्ते के चक्कर में जो है ना सब खराब कंपनी खरीद लेते हैं. एंड खराब कंपनी खराब है, क्यों उनको नाम क्यों बोलते हैं खराब है? बिकॉज दे आर बैड एंड एक्चुअली दे डिकम्पाउंड. आउट ऑफ 100 कंपनीज 70-80 कंपनीज दे फॉल बाय द वेसाइड. लेकिन किसी के पास तो होता है ना वो. सो एंड द बैड एक्सपीरियंस हैपेंस बिकॉज ऑफ द बैड कंपनीज. सो द मोमेंट यू टेक अ वो, भाई मैं महंगा खरीदूंगा लेकिन अच्छी कंपनी खरीदूंगा, क्वालिटी कंपनी खरीदूंगा, क्वालिटी एंड ग्रोथ खरीदूंगा, then you are set to make money. First thing is, let's assure the seat in the market of making money. Somebody will make, say I make 20%, you might make 15%, somebody will make 10%. अरे भाई लेकिन 6% से ऊपर कमा रहे हो आप. आपका जो फिक्स्ड इनकम का रिटर्न है उससे ऊंचा कमाओगे आप. एंड स्टॉक मार्केट इज वन प्लेस वेयर एवरी डे यू लर्न. Once you invest, your learning starts. You start reading that, you start tracking the company gives you quarterly results. So you'll understand. But first thing to understand is what is a good company and what is a bad company. Never go near the bad company, I'm telling you. And you don't need some chartered accounting degree to figure out what is a good company or bad company. Everybody has a commonsensically, if company is not looking good, don't go there. You have your own parameters of figuring out. Because it's not like gold. Gold compounds anywhere. आप न्यूयॉर्क में खरीदो, इंडिया में खरीदो, लंदन में खरीदो, टोक्यो में खरीदो. Gold is gold all over. But equity is not like that. Equity is very uneven. There are good quality companies, bad quality companies, and some of the companies are so good, like Microsoft, your Apple, your Hindustan Lever, your Asian. They are so good. They are like 100 karat gold. So you have to you have to go and invest in the best possible companies, and then rest all is a function of somewhere you become lucky and somewhere you are not so lucky. So still you'll make money. It is very tough to lose money, I'm telling you. If you follow simple principle of not buying bad companies, it is impossible to lose money. मैं तो बोलता हूँ खराब कंपनी खरीदो तो भी 5 साल यदि आप रखे रहोगे तो you cannot lose money. But we are not coming here not to lose. We are coming here to make money. You know, so when you buy good companies, you are assured of, I'm telling you, 10-12%. But if you buy the same good company at little lower price, reasonable price, your return will go to 15-17%. And if you are able to, if you become lucky that somewhere some, tailwind comes and steel prices go up by 10 times or 3 times or 4 times, then you make some fantastic amount of money. But if the market does about 12-13, to do 20% is very tough. Very tough. It looks simple, but it is not that easy. But, and then power of compounding. The compounding works over a period of time. In 10 years, at the rate of 10%, you'll go 2.5 times. At 15%, you'll go 4 times. At 25%, you'll go 10x. So you will make money. I'm telling you, the guys who have come with me, anybody who has come, the very simple guys, they have made money. It's not a rocket science. But you should not be scared of corrections and day-to-day fluctuation, provided you have bought good companies.
So over last 10 years, markets have been actually ruled by front runners. We have not seen too much of a broader market rallying because maybe GDP numbers were falling. As you also mentioned in your presentation, that last decade actually has been not up to the mark.
Not up to the mark.
Right. And we have, investors have actually learned lesson hard way that good companies are those companies which are secular businesses, like the name that you took.
Yeah.
But what has happened now when the new leg of rally has started, some of the value investing companies have again started to, come and become favor. And today investors are again back in searching for multi-baggers. And they are back on, finding out, they talk that Asian Paints, for example, is 100p company, HDFC Life is a 99p company. Those may be good companies, but they will not compound wealth as maybe some of the other companies will compound. How do you see next 10 years or next 5 years or maybe next 3 years in this context?
देखिए, आपको जो समझ में आता है वही खरीदने का है. आपको एशियन पेंट समझ में आया, क्यों जाने का वहां पर? Why we have to buy that? But there will be at least 5-6 companies you will understand, which is I can't believe that entire market is overvalued. There are enough spots which are reasonably priced. In fact, I have so many ideas which I don't have enough money to buy. I'm really telling you, I don't have enough money to buy. The issue is, see, stock picking is also an art. So how do you find quality company, Q? How do you find growth? How do you find longevity growth in quality? And that too at reasonable price. So understanding of the value, वो बहुत जरूरी है. देखिए, price is what you pay, value is what you get. So price everybody can see. You also know the price. I also know the price. But आज रिलायंस का प्राइस आपको मालूम, मेरे को मालूम है, लेकिन रिलायंस कितने का वर्थ है वो मुकेश भाई को मालूम है, या उसके आसपास के जो उनके एम्प्लॉइज हैं उनको मालूम है. आप बहुत साल से उसको रखें तो आपको मालूम है ना. शायद मेरी समझ कम होगी, but there are some guys, 1,000, 1,500 guys who understand the value of it, and they only will make money. The guys who know the gap between price and value, he's going to make money, no? The guys who are not knowing the issue is that nobody wants to do the hard work of trying to understand value of the company. Everybody wants to know the price. So you have to focus on what you know. You don't have to buy Asian Paints. You can buy your own known companies. It can be unknown companies actually. Maximum money is made not in known company. Maximum money is made in unknown companies. You have to bring those companies into the market. You should be the first to buy, way ahead of the crowd. Every company starts very small. Now all the digital companies are coming. And a lot of old companies will become digital companies. जिसमें digital engine लगेगा वो rocket की तरह जाएगा. So there are a lot of opportunities. You don't have to buy those, the ones who have already gone 1000x. They are not going to go 1000x. In fact, you have to buy now the 1,000, 2,000 crore company now, which will become 2 lakh, 3 lakh, 4 lakh crore companies.
So, over your last 40 years of investing career, what has been the average number of stocks that you would have been holding in your portfolio?
ये बहुत interesting है. मैं जब 80, 90, I started getting some money in 1990. Before that, I didn't have any money. So 1990 में हर्षद मेहता bull run हुआ. उस वक्त 1990 में I didn't have any money, but say 1 crore I had in 1990 at some point of time. In next 19 months, we made 30 crores and no speculation, only in investing, continuous investing. I'm a very voracious investor. I never have money. हजारों करोड़ कमा ले, लेकिन I never have money in my pocket. I have only shares. So I'll buy against the brokerage itself. So that was my style of buying continuously. So in 1902, when it became 30 crores, of course the market crashed. That 30 became 10, but 10 was also a lot of money at that point of time. And then in 2000, it became 100. So in 95, I first time I heard about Warren Buffett. So when I read his annual letter, I had 225 companies in that 10 crore portfolio. A lot of bad delivery shares. ये वो मिलाकर मेरे पास 225 company के shares थे. And then NSE came, which actually allowed me to trim the portfolio, because earlier this this physical thing was there, where you go to sell 90, you will be able to sell 85 only. So something will be left. But in NSE, you could, in the screen, you can sell exactly what you have. And that's how we started selling. And we came to 15 stocks. And since then, we run the focus portfolio. None of the portfolios, irrespective of size, even if it is $2 billion, we have only 25, 27 companies. We don't know any other way. We don't have 70, 80, 100 companies. So, but for private investors, you don't need even 25 companies. You should have as many companies as you understand. If you understand only one company, please have one. You'll do the best. I'm telling you. The richest guys in the world have only one stock: Microsoft, Walmart, or Facebook, or Amazon. They're single stock guys. So why do you need more than one? और एक कंपनी तो समझ में आएगा ना भाई, इतना इतना तो बेवकूफ नहीं हुआ.
Right. In the earlier, conversation, you mentioned about good companies and bad companies. And when one has to invest with so much high conviction to build wealth, it is definitely important to avoid bad companies. What are the traits, that one should kind of focus upon to eliminate the bad companies?
देखिए, there are two aspects of it. अभी देखिए, हम सब over 30 years and wealth creation study करके सब सीखे हैं. Okay, but I'm trying to tell you in 2 minutes. See, good business and bad business. There are two types of businesses in the world, and a lot of industries don't know how bad a business is doing. Okay, if you know what is a good business and what is bad business, what is a good business? See, what is business itself? Business is capital input output machine. Okay, at the beginning of the year, you put 100 crores. At the end of the year, you take out 110, 120, 130. If you go to SBI, he will give 105. You go to some, say, NTPC, it will do 110. You go to Nestle, it will be 180. So the issue is how efficient is your machine. So what we say is that 15 taka se niche kamana nahi chahiye. If the company on a sustained basis doesn't have track record of making 15% return on equity, those businesses are bad businesses. And there are outright loss making businesses, 5%, 7%. The real deceptive ones are there are profit, but ROE is 5-6%. तो अच्छा, उसका P multiple बहुत कम होता है ऐसे कंपनी का. So people get stuck. भाई 5 का P मिल रहा है, so we'll make money. But other guy is not making money. How the hell you are going to make money? So what will happen to the company will happen to you. एकदम simple equation, 1-to-1 equation. If company prospers, you will prosper. If the company is earning on 1 lakh crore only 7-8,000 crores, 7-8,000 crores is a lot of profit. But he is earning after deploying 1 lakh crore. वो क्या कर सकता है लाइफ में? उसको डबल करने के लिए, प्रॉफिट डबल करने के लिए उसको 1 लाख करोड़ और चाहिए. जब 2 लाख करोड़ देगा उस कंपनी, तब जाकर उसको 14-15 लाख करोड़ प्रॉफिट होगा. So they are outright bad companies, bad businesses. Then look at the management. See, management has 3 components. Competence, भाई उसको धंधा आता ही नहीं आता है. Second, passion, कितना passionate है वो. Third is integrity. दोनों है. He is competent, he is passionate, but बदमाश है. He is not of the highest integrity. आपको मालूम है, the guys who don't have integrity, they are going to themselves go to hell, and they will take the investor also with them. So when the good business marries with the good management, you get terrific company. This is 99% of the research. And यदि आपको किस्मत अच्छी हुई, you are able to buy it ahead of the crowd at a lower price. I'm telling you, people put too much of effort on trying to figure out at low price. But actually the real effort should be on buying good company managed by good business managed by good management. Quality company, growth company खरीदना ज़्यादा जरूरी है rather than, because ultimately there is some method in the madness. If there are 10 million guys, they're all bidding. You cannot get away with some unreasonable price.
So before this, we were doing conversation with Mr. Bharat Shah. He is, another, gentleman I really admire, and he has also made a lot of wealth. And when we talk about, for example, ASK, investment managers, they talk about their philosophy as quality and growth. You also touched upon quality and growth as, good companies. At the same time, there are, a lot of other fund managers, Sunil Singhania being the very well known these days, who talk about, value and growth, or who talk about, value means price and growth. But Motilal had actually pioneered, many years ago, quality plus growth plus value, quality, growth, longevity, and value, which is price, right? So you are a combination of quality, growth, and value also. So it is easy to explain in terms of stocks. Quality means HDFC Bank, Asian Paints. Value means maybe ICICI Bank, SBI, HCL. How do I explain to my client what is QGLP? In terms of example, if I have to ask you, today I have to identify a stock with the concept, with the thought process of applying QGLP. I see a lot of stocks in a portfolio, but if you could explain it to me, I have not been able to actually, understand this from the perspective of example. This is a stock today which has quality also, which has growth also, which has longevity also, and which has price also.
Okay, let me give you the secret sauce which is difficult to execute. Okay, but we try to do best possible. This is a triangle of 25. So 25% ROE, that gives me quality of business. 25% growth. Okay, longevity, 25% quality growth. And 25 P. I mean, lower the better. If I can get that 25% growth company at 12, 13 P, and there are enough, you go and do the screen, you'll get a lot of ideas. Abhi aapko chunne ka usme se. You put these 3 filters, you'll get a lot of ideas. The point is, which one you pick up out of that? So, and I think the real mystery is that, say, ROE, you know the current price. What you don't know is the growth. So growth estimation is a trick, or that's an art. Some places you become insightful. And that's why this value migration, various concepts are there for understanding growth. If there is a value migration, if the industry is growing, see, industry is growing at say 15%. Say banking industry is growing at 15%. We know. So any average bank should grow at 15%. HDFC, ICICI, Axis, Kotak, सब 15% तो करेंगे ना. Otherwise किस बात का आप मास्टरी फिर? They are large, नामी बैंक है भाई, ये तो इतना इंडस्ट्री का रेट, but they are going to grow at plus rate because 2/3 of the industry is PSU bank. Industry will grow at 15, but PSU is not going to grow at 15. They are going to grow at 5-7. So उनका जो 65% growth का कोटा है, वो ये 4 बैंक लेंगे. तो कौन सा बैंक 15 नहीं 25 से ग्रो करे, 20-25 से ग्रो करे, वो अभी आप उसका थोड़ा रिसर्च करना पड़ेगा, आपको समझना पड़ेगा. सो 25% ROE हो गया, 25% ग्रोथ हो गया, एंड नाउ पी मल्टीपल दिया हुआ है, आपको जो समझ में आता कर दो. So once this triangle, see, nothing comes exactly 25, but around 25 वाला 40 हो सकता है ROE. See, we want higher and higher ROE, higher growth and lower P. अब ये कॉम्बिनेशन रियल लाइफ में कुछ अलग होता है. कई बार हमको 25% ROE, 40% ग्रोथ, 15 का P, भाई रात को नींद नहीं आती, फिर नेक्स्ट डे खरीदो, जितना खरीद सकता हो उतना खरीदो. And we have brought a lot of these. See, when you are ahead in the race, when you are early in the game, you can see this. ये आता है आपके हाथ में. अच्छा, आप जाके ऑफिस में पूछो 2-4 लोग से, ये स्टॉक कैसा लगता है? वो बोलता है सर ये कहाँ से लेके आया है, क्या जरूरत है ऐसे स्टॉक देखने की? No, but everybody will hate you for buying it, and after one it will be up 5 times. So you should also have capability to face the world. Buy into something which is non-consensus.
Like you mentioned, good businesses and bad businesses. Last 2 decades has also taught that there have been a lot of evolution in terms of sectors also. If one goes through the weights within Nifty, 20 years ago, as your presentation also kind of mentioned, heavyweight sectors were like oil and gas, industrial, cement, infrastructure, and today, though auto and IT, they have maintained their weights, but there are new sectors like private banking, NBFC, consumption, which have actually covered up. So, which means it is important for one to also understand over next 10 years, before one gets into good businesses, bad businesses, what are going to be good sectors and bad sectors. What are your views in this regards?
See, I mean, you have a valid point there. See, good business means it is a good sector also. It's IT hai. See, IT ka, it is never bad a sector. It is never bad. I mean, as a business, they always made 70-80% ROE. उसमें कोई डाउट ही नहीं रहा. जैसे आपको ग्रोथ कम हुआ, पी भी कम हो गया. जब इन्फोसिस 200 का पी था, जब 100% ग्रो हो रहा था, it was 200 P in 2000. In 2012-13, it became 12p. Can you believe this? But ROE remains same. ROE was not lower. So the quality of business don't change. If the quality changes, then what is the point? Then they're not good business. They're all sab barsati hue. No. Good businesses remain good. The growth comes up and down. Like Hindustan Lever is a terrific company. It doesn't mean that it will keep growing at 20% every year. Sometimes, like last year, there was no growth. Next year, it might again be slow. But after that, it may pick up to 15-20%. So that doesn't make the business good or bad. The growth could be slow or fast. So typically, what I have seen is that there are secular businesses and there are cyclical businesses. So good and secular, good business and secular, that gets you 50-60 P multiple because it never comes down. मतलब you can see कि भाई पिछले 100 साल में भी नेस्ले पैसे बनाया है, अगले 100 साल भी कमाएगा, तो अपने करने का क्या है? फिर then it starts getting valued a lot higher, very high. Even for the very low growth, 10, 12%, 15% growth, you get much higher P multiple. Then you have the companies which are cyclical in character. आपको ये नहीं मालूम अगले साल में क्या होगा, मतलब will it be 10 times bigger or it will be just about same? It is just steel cycle है, पूरा loss decade है पूरा. So how do you value it? So उसी कारण से अब अच्छा समय है तो भी P multiple नहीं मिलता है. तो ये जो confidence in the future gives you the P multiple. तो जब आपको कॉन्फिडेंस आता है कोई कंपनी के ऊपर, कोई बिजनेस के ऊपर, एंड यू रियलाइज दैट जनरली इस टाइप की कंपनी को 40 का पी मिलना चाहिए, लेकिन आज के दिन में 12 का पी है, 15 का पी है. इट इज लाइक सेइंग आई कम फॉर लुकिंग फॉर अ फ्लैट इन वर्ली. ओके, तो वर्ली में कितना मिलना चाहिए आपको? 35-40 हजार रुपए पर स्क्वायर फीट मिलना चाहिए, लेकिन एक्चुअली ये तो बहुत अच्छा घर है लेकिन मिलता है 10,000 रुपए में. ये चीज पॉसिबल है, रियल एस्टेट में कभी नहीं होगा, कभी नहीं हो सकता है, 1000-2000 आगे पीछे होगा. बट बाजार में बहुत उल्टा सीधा होता है. बाजार में जो चीज 10 का पी होना चाहिए वो 100 का पी होता है, और जिसका 100 का पी होना चाहिए वो 2 का पी मिलता है आपको. एंड वहीं पर आपका अंडरस्टैंडिंग जो है ना, द आर्ट फॉर्म कम्स देयर.
Right. So, we have identified good businesses. We have created that list. Now we have to create a high conviction portfolio. So we cannot have 2 or 3 good businesses from one sector, because otherwise portfolio will become 35-40 stocks. Just to give you an example, if I have to select between Infosys and TCS or HDFC Bank and Kotak Mahindra Bank, right, how do I decide? Because all 4 or 5 of these are good businesses.
They're good companies, good businesses, good companies. The issue is actually, I'm telling you now, if you're an ordinary guy, you buy into them, all this best and best, you'll make better than market, I believe. Because index is what? Index is collection of terrific businesses, all the leader companies, 30 leader companies or 50 leader companies. And you are buying in those 50s also, एकदम चुने हुए 15-20 जो अच्छे वही खरीद रहे हैं. Obviously, you'll do better than the index. But आप यदि बोलेंगे 6 महीने साल भर के अंदर आप कैसे बीट नहीं किया करके, then it is very different game. But over a period of time, you will do very well. See, as I said, making index return is, you don't need any effort. That 12-15% कमाने के लिए कोई मेहनत करने की जरूरत नहीं, ज्यादा दिमाग लगाने का काम नहीं. But when you want to make 20-25%, which is the aspiration of the people, it is very, very tough. It is not that easy. You need that art form, lot of discipline. You need a Bharat Bhai, you need all these जितने आप लोग के branded लोग हैं, सब लोग काम चाहिए उसमें.
Right, Ramdev ji, it has been really pleasure talking to you. It has been so insightful, discussing all this. I have been, as I said in the beginning, the focus has to be on returns and not on risk. One has to comprehend risk and move on, because it is execution which builds wealth, not just contemplating and thinking about risk. And our effort and our endeavor is only in the same direction, where we want our clients, our investors to focus on returns. Thank you, Ramdev ji, once again.